Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our preview for This Is Us Season 6, Episode 16. This episode is titled Family Meeting, otherwise known as How Will the Show Make Us Sad This Time Around? We're still drying the tears off of the Miguel one.
Listen, I need them to give me a break. That Miguel episode just broke me. I was crying so much. I look like I just got dumped on The Bachelor. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't a good look, not my finest moment. So I'm really hoping that this next episode is not going to be so sad.
I think it's gonna be sad. No, I listen. I think there's a light at the end of the tunnel. I've got a theory on some of this stuff that maybe there will be hope eventually. I'm worried that it's not gonna be for another couple weeks.
Listen, I have a little bit of hope from this promo that it's not going to be sad. However, I do see some arguments coming up.
All right, well, go ahead and hit that subscribe button because we do have a few more episodes
Mhm.
of This Is Us to come. We don't want you guys to miss any of the reviews on any of that. We also have a lot of great stuff planned for the channel here. The Handmaid's Tale hopefully coming back in the reasonably near future. I mean, we shall see.
And we are covering Better Call Saul. So, if you're watching that, we're also watching that. And follow us over on our Instagram, Matt and Jess TV. Fifi
Yeah.
Fontaine, my bunny, has figured out how to get on the bed. So there's some pictures of that up over there.
If you need something to cheer you up after talking about This Is Us, bunnies. That is the answer.
She's so sweet.
She is so sweet.
Okay, let's talk about this promo
All right.
because here's the thing. Miguel was the power of attorney
Yeah.
over Rebecca's health. We saw in the last Miguel episode, oh my Miguel,
Yeah, I know.
that, he was ailing in health. Yes, he's now passed away. So now we're in a situation where Kate is in charge.
Yeah.
So, how is she going to really handle things? Because it's from the promo, it looks like what typically happens in families. This happened in my family too, and I ain't calling out any of my aunties or my uncle or anybody. Everybody has the best interests of the person in heart. And I think that's the same thing going on here, where Randall very much is like, I think mom should come and live with me. And Kevin's like, no, I don't think that's the way it's going to go. And then we got Kate being like, I don't know what to do. And I just think that that's something that really happens a lot in families when there's more than one kid and everyone wants to be there for that person. There were those discussions in my family too. My grandmother was an angel on earth.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted her at their house.
It's an inevitability when you love someone. You always are going to think that you can care for them better than anyone else because you don't think in your head, I think that no one else can love this person like I love this person. And I think that's such a big driving force. And especially for a guy like Randall, who I think Randall pictures a cape on the back of him a lot of the time because he thinks he's Superman. He thinks that he can care for everyone at all times, but Randall, and I'm sure he still doesn't realize this, even though he's a freaking senator, he's like traveling probably all the time to and from Washington. He's probably not in one place all that long. Like, he is not the right person to care for Rebecca, and it doesn't matter how much he loves her. He's just got so many things on his plate that keep him from being in the same place.
The other thing that I think Randall's not really taking into consideration, which was shown a little bit in the promo too, where Kate was kind of like, you're not really looking at Rebecca or looking at the situation, because the real situation here is that Rebecca has been in Kevin's compound for a long time. And even though she's losing her memories, this is a place that's familiar to her. And moving someone who is going through something like this to a brand new place that they may not remember, that they may not be familiar with, can make things very frustrating for them, very scary for them to then become accustomed to somewhere else when they don't have their memory to be able to really do something like that. It's a huge, huge change. And I'm not saying that it can't work. I'm just saying Randall really needs to take into consideration what comfort Rebecca already has.
There's this line in the promo where Kate kind of says something along the lines of look at her and you're not really seeing her, and it kind of reminds me back of when we were at the wedding with Kate and Philip, and Randall was trying to correct Rebecca and trying to tell her that Jack wasn't there. And I think that Randall, rather than sort of seeing the situation for what it is a lot of the time, I think he has in his head the idea of what he thinks is right. And I think there's a real divide versus what he thinks is right versus what is actually right. That doesn't mean that Randall's some terrible person or whatever. I
No.
think he just has a harder time accepting things. And I think Kate is a little bit more level headed in that way.
I also just think that Randall is probably dealing with some guilt because, like you said, he's a senator. So he's got to be traveling. He's got a lot of responsibilities. He may not be there as much as he thinks he should be for Rebecca.
Yeah.
So if he's got Rebecca living in his house, then even if he's traveling, he's going to be there with her a lot more. And I think that while he has Rebecca's best interests at heart, he loves her, I think that there is a selfish component to this where he's like, I need to be there more for her. And how can I make this happen? She needs to be in my house.
Here is one moment in the promo. This is going to be a big surprise, everyone. There's a moment in the promo that actually made me happy, and it was Toby making another appearance after being gone for a while. Not only are he and Kate getting along, but, she's relying on him. He is being a good friend to her. This just pleases me greatly.
Me too. I was really happy to see this. I mean, we already saw a little bits of it when they were divorcing and she was moving on with Philip and stuff like that, that he is there throughout the years. He's at all the sort of, birthdays and celebrations, and even just Philip being like, hey, I can make you an extra plate. You want to
Yeah.
stay? Yeah, sure, I'll stay. That friendship is there. And I mean, that's a father of her children.
Yeah.
She's always going to rely on him, and it was nice to see her relying on him. And I'm not saying she's not relying on Philip. She probably is getting multiple opinions on things. She has very low self-confidence in herself when it comes to making huge decisions. So I can see her going to a few people, going to Kevin, going to Philip. I'm really happy that Toby is one of those phone calls. I was worried we just weren't going to see him again until we're at Rebecca's deathbed.
Yeah, and I think this is a great way to sort of show us and remind us why he is at Rebecca's deathbed, where, he obviously had a relationship with Rebecca and
Yes.
everyone else with the Pearsons, but it's an ongoing thing. And I kind of take this as a sign that, okay, Toby is probably good still with the rest of the family as well. We know that there was some tension there, but time heals wounds, and none of these people are bad people. I think that's another component to all of this.
No, Toby's not bad. No, none of
No.
these people are bad. And it was good to see that she made that call to Toby. I have been missing him on the
No.
show. But the other thing we need to sort of talk about is obviously there's no Miguel in this promo. Are we still gonna see him sort of going back and forth? Like we still see Jack all these
Yeah.
years. Are we still gonna have anything from the past, or are we just like we're all caught up now? This is all present, and then moving forward into the future to sort of see how everything ends for the big three.
I think we'll see Miguel again. I think that I'm not saying it's going to be a lot, but I think we're probably going to see maybe a scene or two, not so much in this upcoming episode, maybe in the last couple, but I just feel like this show, I don't want to say a victory lap, but I do think that they're going to sort of remind us in a lot of these final episodes of all of the important people along the way.
Yeah, I feel good that we will see him again. But I do feel like a lot of this episode, if not all of this episode, is really gonna be about this family meeting and in the present
Yeah.
and how they're gonna really deal with this because this show is very relatable to a lot of us. Not necessarily all the full circle moments because that doesn't always happen in life, but these types of moments, the really hard conversations where it's like you have a parent that is ailing, that needs help, and only one of those people is legally in control of the medical, and it makes it very difficult for the other kids that just really want to help, that really want to have a say in what happens to their parent, their mom or their dad, and they just really can't. And I know that Kate is going to listen to everyone.
Yeah.
She is going to listen to Kevin. She is going to listen to Randall. It's just going to be, they clearly at that table have very different ideas of what they want. Randall's like, she needs to come live with me. Kevin's like, nope, I'm going to do what she wanted to do, to the death.
I think that this episode is going to be really powerful, compelling, relatable. A word that you used. I think it's going to be relatable to a lot of people. I mean, you've seen your experiences, of course, and
Oh, yeah.
it's something that I think will be really difficult at times, but I hope that there's a good resolution. This is sort of the issue that I'm kind of having, and you guys can let me know in the comments if you feel a little bit similar, but where are the mysteries now with This Is Us? Because think about it. We know who Kevin is with. We know what happened to Miguel. We know who Nikki is with. It's like a lot of the big question marks are already sort of resolved. And so I'm going to cast out here a theory as to where things are going from here.
Mm-hmm.
We all know that Rebecca is on her deathbed. We've seen that a number of times on the show as it is. And it sounds like episode 17, the one after this coming one, is going to revolve a lot around all of this. And there are even reports about Mandy Moore vomiting after reading the script for episode 17. And so I feel like that is the episode where Rebecca is going to die. I don't think that this show is going to end on that note because it is so sad. It's going to make everybody cry all over again. And I think they still want one more mystery, and it is the big mystery. And I'm not just talking about what's going on with Malik. That's like one of the few question marks I do still have. But what is the series finale going to be? What story are they going to tell there?
Okay, so for those of you who have not seen 6 Feet Under and you don't want to be spoiled on this show that has ended like 15 years ago, just give us a minute here, okay? Okay.
All right.
Okay, so I think that you're right. I think that they are going to have Rebecca die in episode 17 because I don't think this show wants to go out on that note where they're just, hurting everybody's heart. I think they want to have this last episode be very sort of similar to the ending of that show, which is easily one of the absolute best series finales ever on the planet. It is so good. Where we will see the big three and, little snippets of all the grandchildren, but mostly the big three of where they're going to end up in their 50s and 60s and 70s and sort of their happiness, their goals, their big milestones, big moments, lots of birthdays, Thanksgivings, all of that we see where their parents, all their parents, that includes Miguel, have brought them to these moments where they no longer have their parents. They are the parents and they are doing well in life. So we can leave this series being like, okay, we have a full picture of what their whole life is. We saw them from babies all the way up into where they are seniors, maybe.
I couldn't agree more with that. I think that is exactly what we're going to see at the end of this show. I think they want us to celebrate the lives of the big three. They want us to celebrate Rebecca as well. And that's why I think we're building towards, a huge victory lap where we see a Miguel, or we see Jack, or we see all these different characters in some shape or form. And we kind of get this full picture of the entire Pearson world. I think they want us to be really happy. Like, I'm not putting it past them that there's going to be some other really big twist that we don't see coming right now, but I would be shocked if the series finale is just like, whoa, you think you know what's happening, they're going to pull a record scratch on us then? No, I just don't see it.
No, I don't think that this show has never been about the mysteries, and I know a lot of us have been very interested and involved in the mysteries for sure. But this show is about family and it's about relatable family moments. And I think that these last few episodes are going to be all about that. And it's not really about like, who does Kevin end up with anymore? It's really like, how are all of these very relatable family moments all going to hit us right in the heart and have us all crying or cheering or feeling really good about the journey on this show? And that's where I think they're going to bring us. Now, I've seen some comments where people are thinking we're going to see sort of a afterlife where
Hmm.
Rebecca meets up with Miguel and Jack in sort of like a heavenly type feel.
Yeah.
I honestly don't think that the show is going to do that. The show has not had any sort of mystical afterlife, anything kind of like that. And because the show is really relatable and nobody knows for sure what happens after you pass away, I don't think that they're going to bring that element into the show.
I would be really surprised because I think they have tried very hard to stay sort of neutral when it comes to religion, when it comes to like views of spirituality. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that them presenting like a clearly defined view of, okay, this is what either we think is going to happen or what we think the Pearsons are going to feel is going to happen. I think all of that is probably going to be a little bit of a bridge too far. And I think that doesn't stop any of us from imagining anyway what happens to them. I think the show's going to give us that freedom.
Yeah. Also, here's a spoiler for another show, Lost. Anybody who hasn't, okay. Very few people like that ending, which was very much the ending I just said, which is everybody shows up in a church and they're all going towards the light. So many people hated that ending. I'm not one of those people. Matt is not one of those
No,
people, but
come at me, commenters.
okay, most people, yeah, suck it, haters. No, I'm kidding. I think most people didn't like that ending, and I don't know if people will like that ending here. They might not.
Well, we will find out very, very soon because, there are only a few episodes left. Rest assured, we will be here with reviews, previous theories, all sorts of good stuff the rest of the way. So hit that subscribe button if you guys haven't subscribed already. Follow us on Instagram at Matt and Jess TV, and we will see you here next time.